Hey digital artists, I'm going to show you how to use Pixlr to make a gradient landscape. So go to Pixlr-E, that's the one I like to use, it's the most like Photoshop. Click Create New. You can put your title there if you'd like to. You can choose a different size if you want to. They have a whole bunch of sizes down there, but I'm just going to keep it the way it is. Alright. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just make my background. So I'm going to make the background a gradient. So I use the gradient tool, and now I'm just going to choose the two colors that I want to blend together. So you do that by clicking on that little marker and then the color, and choose whichever color you'd like. So this is going to be like my sky, so I'm thinking like what colors I'd like there. So I like those two colors together. I'm going to keep that. You can do it radial, which is a circle, or linear. I'm going to keep it linear just to show you. So however long you do that line is how close the gradient goes, and you can have that line going in any direction. Here's the radial, where it circles. Okay. So it all depends on how big you make that line. So I actually want that purple on the top. I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to make another layer. I'm going to actually, I'm going to rename my layers. It's actually a good practice to name your layers so that you don't get mixed up when you're trying to figure out what things you want in which direction or on top of each other. So I'm going to make my mountain now. So I chose the shape tool, and I chose that extra shapes, and I chose a mountain shape. You could always draw one yourself, but I'm just going to use this. It's a lot easier. And I had already picked my gradient colors. Okay. I'm going to rename that and name it mountain. So that's the mountain layer. I have my background layer. So I'm going to fix that gradient a little bit. I want it a little bit darker on the top. So you can play around. You can actually add more markers, different colors. Just, have fun with it. There's really, all you have to do is hit undo and it's gone. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to make a sun. So I accidentally moved my mountain, just undo. You can actually change the shape. There's just so much you can do. So I added a new layer, and then I chose shape to add the new layer. And if I chose circle, I want it to be a circle, but it's not turning into a circle. So what you can do is go back to circle, and when you're moving that, hold down the shift key on the keyboard. When you hold down the shift and you move those little markers, you can adjust it to make it a circle or whatever shape you want. Alright, cool. Now I'm going to add my gradient. I'm kind of picky. These all look kind of cool. Look like planets. Okay, I like those two colors. So don't settle for less. Make it look the way you want it to look. Take time to figure it out. So I like the radial. You can also play with the opacity. It makes it see-through. I feel like it needs one more lighter color. So I added a third marker. Alright. Now I just need to move these, and if you accidentally put one there by mistake, just click on it and then hit the little trash can and it will go away. You can change the direction. You can adjust this for it to be exactly the way you want it to be. And I know you're probably wondering, wait a minute, Miss G, the sun is in front. That's not going to work out. All you got to do is just drag the layer so that it is above the mountain. And it's behind the mountain. Okay, so I have a gradient sky, I have a gradient mountain. Now I'm going to add some clouds. Again, you could draw your own, but I'm just going to use one of these shapes. It's a lot easier. So I added a new layer, and when I clicked new layer, I chose shape. And remember, hold down the shift, and then you can adjust the shape however you want. And now I'm just going to choose some gradients. You can choose the gradients they already have there, or you can make your own. I kind of like that one. And I'm going to copy it. So I did Command C or Control C to copy. And I'm just going to change the size of some of them. Cool. I'm happy with that. I feel like I need something in my foreground, something that is close to me. So I think I'm going to do a tree. So you're going to add a new layer, and then you're going to choose shape for your layer. You can add a shape and create trees. You can do trees, you can do cacti, you could do whatever. You could do aliens. I don't know. Be creative. So I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to make it like a tree. So it's like I'm playing around. It's like, nah, I don't know if I like that. So you just want to keep playing around with different things until you see something you like. It also gives you practice using the program. Because Photoshop is just as tricky and difficult to use. But it's what the professionals use, so it's good practice. I don't like that pink. Yeah, that's better. Alright, so that's like a tree trunk. So I'm going to rename that layer. That's the sun layer. Rename that layer. That's cloud 1. That's cloud 2. That's cloud 3. And this is tree trunk. Oh, I forgot to name it. Okay. Well, now I am adding a tree top. I'm going to have some fun with this one. Remember, hold the shift down when you're moving that, and then you can make it into any shape you want. Otherwise, it'll keep it constrained and only enlarge it exactly the way it is. If you want to make it skinnier or wider, hold down the shift. Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay. All right. So I feel like it needs one more thing. I'm going to name this one, that's the trunk. I'm going to name this one treetop. Okay. And you can play around with the blending of layers too. It's I kind of like that one. It's a little bit see-through. Okay, so I think I'm going to add something in the left-hand corner. I'm going to add like a little flower or something. That's my cat. So I'm just kind of getting some ideas and like, what can I do? Ooh, I like that. That looks cool. I was holding down the shift when I did that. I can make it gigantic. Alright. Still not digging the color so much. I kind of like that. So I added another marker, and if you want to change the color of that, you can. So let's see, I think I'll change that one a little bit darker. Cool. You can add an outline if you want to. I don't want to. I like the shadow, it's kind of cool. You can change the color of the shadow too. I'm just going to kind of leave it black. You can change lots of different things with just the shadow. It's like there's all these hidden menus and tricks, just like Photoshop. Alright, so just making a little teeny flower there. Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to use the paintbrush tool, and I'm going to draw the stem. So you can adjust the softness so it's not blurry, because usually it starts out as blurry. And I'm going to draw I think I would probably take more time and make that look better, but I want to finish this up so that you guys have something to use to help you make your gradient landscape. So I'll make some little prickly things. I don't know what kind of plant this is. I'm making it up. Well, let's say that you want to add a gradient to the flower stem. Okay, so I was just renaming my layers. I'm going to move my flower layer up so it's covering my stem. You can play around with the blending, but I really want to add a gradient to the line that I made on my flower, that stem. So what you do is you select it, but if you don't select it, it's going to do the whole thing. So you need to select just that. And there's a quick way to do it. You can go to Layer and Select, and you select the pixels. Okay, so you go to that menu up there, Select, and select Pixels. And it'll only select those pixels, which are those little squares of color, in that layer. And now I can add my gradient, I can play around with it, and I'm only working on that little part that has the little marching ants or the little moving lines. So I'm choosing which gradient I like. So I'll select pixels. Let's see, I think I'm going to add a drop shadow on this. So go to Filter, Drop Shadow. Now my flower has a little shadow as well. And it's pretty much done. You can see all the layers we used. So go File, Save as a PNG. Make sure you get your title correct and download it. And that is the file that you are going to turn in to show me your gradient landscape. And in case you ever forget, if you lose your space, if you go back, it'll show you the things that you were working on before. Have fun!